This is a quick video to show how I changed the tonality of my red oak thresholds that I made to match the weathered oak LVP flooring that I put into some bedrooms. So the stain I started off with, not a brand I normally use, but it's what I had on hand. It's carbon gray Varathane, and it looks a lot more opaque in the can than it goes on. If you just apply that to red oak, and you can't see it here now because I've already dealt with these and then decided to share my experience with you, but if you put that on, you'll get, in the open grain, you'll get the pigment of the black, but largely the gray on the regular oak is not very strong, for one thing. But then when you're dealing with red oak, all that pink comes through. So I did some experimentation to overcome that, to make them match better. And that's what I want to share with you. So because I tried several different things, my boards ended up darker than the actual flooring. But I believe if I had done my final process in the beginning, I would have been able to match that better. So as you add stuff to your boards, the luminance is going to go down, meaning it's going to get darker. But the magic solution ended up being picked up these pigments, Mixol pigments. So I've got canary yellow. It's a bright basic yellow. Blue, which is a bright blue. If you just look at each of those, they are pretty bright. And then lastly, when I picked this up on Amazon, it was listed as umber, but the actual bottle says stone gray, and it's a dark gray with a slightly greenish tint. And so what you're wanting to achieve is to add some green on these boards to counteract the red that's in the red oak. And so obviously the blue and yellow together make green. I think you could probably, if you're not super picky about color, get away with just using this umber. Because if I didn't mention it before, it's a dark gray with a slight green tint. And so all I did was mix those into my stain, and they're pigments, so you gotta mix them in pretty good, and then apply that over the board, and the green plus the red comes out to a neutral gray. So these, although they're darker than I wish they were, are gonna work, and they really weren't going to work before. And I put a lot of work into these thresholds. Kind of a long story. I ended up changing the flooring. The flooring in those rooms before was red oak itself, and so everything matched, but ended up deciding to go with this LVP for other reasons. And so I still had these thresholds, which I had scribed to fit well, and they were necessary because the finished floor heights of the rooms were different. And so I really can't bin them. And I didn't want to start over either, so this made it work. So that's the secret. Before I started this project, I looked online, and lots of people had trouble trying to get red oak into a gray color scheme. And that's how I made it work, these Mixol pigments. So there you go.